What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy Chef. We are back, and you already know what time it is. It is time for the YAK Pod episode number 45. Now, we got a not really packed show for you today. We got a little bit of quote-unquote breaking news situation with Brock Wright. I think pretty much everyone has heard about the news, so we're going to talk about that a little bit today. But before we go ahead and get into that, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and hit that button down there, smash the like button, turn on your notifications, share, do all that good stuff. Because when you do that good stuff, it helps get the algorithm on my side. And if you are enjoying this content, you definitely want the algorithm on my side. And let's go ahead and get to it. Now, those of you probably know that Brock Wright has officially signed an offer sheet with the San Francisco 49ers. Now, Lions have 5 days to match the offer. If they do not, then Brock Wright will be a San Francisco 49er. Now, the offer sheet is 3 years and $12 million. So, quick math, that is $4 million per year. Are the Lions going to match $4 million per year for Brock Wright? I don't know. I don't think $4 million per year is a whole lot. But then if you're gonna say, well, Brock Wright's a backup tight end, he's the second string. How much do they value him? Do they value him to that degree? I don't know. I know Brock Wright has done some really good things for us. A couple years ago when we played the Jets, he was the one that caught that big touchdown. He does great things for us in the blocking scheme. He's just a big part of that. I don't know, man. When you sign an offer sheet with another team, I mean, obviously you have the intention to move on. Maybe he's going to have an expanded role. I don't know how much more of a role he's going to have. He's going to be behind George Kittle, just like he was behind Sam Laporta. I don't know if he feels like he was lowballed or whatever the case may be. So I'm not really exactly sure what's going to happen. Obviously, when you're building a culture and guys are culture fits, there's continuity in the locker room and all these things. You never want to see a person go. But it's a business, man. I mean, the NFL is a business. It is professional football, and professionals are engaged in some sort of business. So if we do lose him, obviously we're going to need to replace him. The one thing that I've seen kind of floating around is, it's like some people are upset and they're like, well, we don't ever keep good players and things of this nature. Listen, I mean, we signed some really good players this year. Some of them have injury concerns, but we're upgrading our team, man. And when you're upgrading the team, sometimes you're going to lose players. That's just the way that it goes. And, the Detroit Lions are not often in a situation where they're really, truly upgrading their team. So what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have done, or like I like to call them, Brad Campbell, what they have done is they've come in here and they have overhauled this roster. And sometimes you're going to lose fan favorites, and sometimes fans are mad until they see the numbers and they're like, oh, well, like the people that wanted Jonah Jackson back. I was never on the Jonah Jackson train. I never wanted Jonah Jackson to come back because he was trending in the wrong direction due to injuries, and his salary demands were going to be too high to pay a player like that. I mean, when Brad Holmes goes ahead and he signs players that have injury histories, I mean, their salaries aren't like super duper high. I mean, look at DJ Reader's salary. Only $9 million of it is guaranteed. So if he's not able to come back from the injury, and obviously we hope he's able to come back and he's able to be full strength and he's able to play, all of the games for us this year. I'm not going to say all 17 because I hope it's all 21. But so if he's not able to come back, then his salary of $9 million is guaranteed. It's not a huge salary hit. Emmanuel Mosley, we don't really know his contract numbers, but it's not something that's going to be major. We don't even know if he's coming back, if he's going to be able to hit the field again. They do feel comfortable with his rehab and where he's at currently with it. So hopefully, he'll be able to get back on the field and he'll be able to return to form before he injured his first ACL. Look at Michael Penix. Michael Penix has 2 repaired ACLs and he's running a 4.5 40. He's got 4 season-ending injuries in 5 years. So it happens. But back to Brock Wright. So if he leaves, we'll just have to try to replace him. And that's pretty much what it comes down to. Good players go out and better players come in, hopefully. And speaking of which, I was alerted to a certain tight end that will be in the draft. He looks like a beast. He looks like a monster. He is 6'4". He's 245 pounds. He's got long arms, almost 33 inches, and big hands, 10 inches. And his name is Ja'Tavion Sanders, and he comes from Texas. Now let's go ahead and read his draft profile from Draft Network. He was first team All Big 12 in 2022. He's a John Mackey Award semifinalist in 2022. If you don't know that, John Mackey Award is given to the best tight end in college. Says Ja'Tavion Sanders has shown to be a versatile receiving threat at the tight end position with the ability to make big plays in the vertical passing game. The strengths: ability to catch in traffic, plus level athlete, run after catch, tackle breaking ability, smooth athlete, and route runner, alignment, versatile. His concerns: ability to be an inline blocker, run blocking, and he's role specific. Now, is that really going to replace Brock Wright? Brock Wright is more of a blocker. So I'm not really sure that he's going to be, because he's obviously not the blocker that Brock Wright is. He's going to be coached up if he were to be drafted by the Lions, but that just gives you another weapon. When Sam Laporta was out, we had another tight end, James Mitchell, who didn't really show a whole lot. We know that James Mitchell had the potential to be someone like a Ja'Tavion Sanders, but he for whatever reason, whether it's opportunities, whether it's injuries, like he just hasn't kind of lived up to what we thought he could be when we brought him in here. And that's not to say we'll move on from him, but are we replacing a guy that has to block like Brock Wright, or are we bringing in someone who's more of a versatile threat? And that's something for the roster builders to decide. But there are options in the draft. This is my point. If you haven't seen some of his highlights, some of his film, Ja'Tavion Sanders, go ahead, YouTube him, throw it on. The dude is a freaking beast. He's a monster. Imagine now your 2 tight end sets when you're rolling out Sam Laporta and him. It'll be just like having another wide receiver, that big body wide receiver that everyone talks about having. If we draft Ja'Tavion Sanders, as I said, he's 6'4", almost 6'5". So having him, that would be great. And that would be something that would make our offense even more deadly and dangerous. So again, that's just something that we have to decide. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have to decide, first and foremost, are they going to re-sign Brock Wright? Are they going to match the offer? If they do not match the offer, he will be a member of the San Francisco 49ers. And if they decide to go that way, then I said yesterday, don't be surprised if they take a tight end at 29. But I don't think they'll take him at 29. It's not like they lost Sam Laporta. And again, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are BPA. So Jatavion Sanders would not be someone that would be drafted in the first round. I don't think they take a Brock Bowers. I just don't think that they do. But it's something that's now, it's on your mind, okay? Because someone that might need to be replaced, they might just go ahead and bite the bullet and just pay the man, and that would be that, and then we don't have to even worry about it. So right now it's all speculation. We won't know until 5 days from now if they match the offer, or maybe they'll take the weekend and they'll come back on Monday, and then they'll match it, or refuse to match it, or whatever the case may be. So again, we're not going to know anything until this being the last day of the week, but we're not going to know anything. Earliest probably Monday. But I mean, again, this is the cost of doing business, bro. When you start going to NFC championships, and when you start playing deep into the playoffs and contending for Super Bowls, you're going to lose players. You're just going to lose players because other teams are going to be able to see your players. Other teams are going to be able to match up against your players. Other teams are scouting your players. When you're an 0-16 team, or where you're 3-13-1, or when you're back in the day 2-14 and all these things, nobody's scouting your players. You don't have anyone. You're winning 2 games a year, 3 games a year. But now when you're winning 12, 13, 14 games, or whatever the case may be, and you are actual elite competition, then people are going to look. And the NFL is a business, and these things are okay to do. It is okay in free agency to offer someone an offer sheet. If they are a restricted free agent, this is how the NFL has put that into place. It can happen. When you have restricted free agents, they can be offered contracts or offer sheets by other teams. It's nothing to be angry about, upset about. This is just how business happens, right? This is just how business happens. And then to be upset with the Lions about matching the offer sheet, if they're gonna match it, if they're not gonna match it, just being hypercritical over everything that they do. It's they're running a business as well, and they understand the monies that they have allocated, and they understand they have charts for these guys, and it's okay, well, this is what we think that we should pay you, and they know exactly what you do for the team. And maybe $4 million is too much. Maybe $4 million is not too much. Who knows? But we won't know until the ink dries on his new contract, whether that be his new contract with the Lions or his new contract with the San Francisco 49ers. We will know when the ink dries if the Lions felt that was a good offer. If they felt that was something that they wanted to match, or if they felt that was, hey man, go get your money. Go get your money. And sometimes, look, man, sometimes this is a who type of business, right? Everybody knows everybody in the NFL, and it may even just be a solid. It may be a solid that they're doing them. Look, man, we can't pay you that because of your role. We want you to go and get your money. We want you to go and get your money. And that may just be it, man. The Lions treat their players very well. This culture that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have instilled, it is not the Patricia era. It is not the Quinn Tricia era. It is not it's not Matt Millen. It's not, Martin Mayhew, which obviously Martin Mayhew was the last GM to have a team that was capable of doing what we just did last year, but the culture wasn't there. It's not any of those things, man. This is a new era. So a lot of times we're just caught up in the history that we have, but we have to be able to understand, like, when we looking at the situation, this is a new situation. These are the brand new Lions. This is a brand new culture. We haven't had the front office, from the front office down, be in lockstep before. We haven't had that before. And good organizations do that. Good organizations have those things happen. Good organizations lose players. Look at the freaking the Chiefs. Look at the Chiefs. They lost Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill went to Miami and got a whole lot of money, and then they went and won another Super Bowl. I mean, they've won back-to-back Super Bowls. They're contending to be the first team ever to win 3 straight. That's what they're contending to do this coming season. They lose players, man. They lose players. Yes, they have Patrick Mahomes, and then they'll, like when Tom Brady, Skip Bayless would say that Tom Brady could grab 3 guys from Dorchester, go into a stadium and grab 3 guys out of the stadium and put them, out of the crowd and put them on the field, and those were his wide receivers, right? Patrick Mahomes is a similar person. That's why Patrick Mahomes is in the GOAT conversation with Tom Brady. Obviously, he has to continue to do that throughout his career, but he could be the GOAT. So yes, they do have that guy, but just look at good organizations. I mean, the Steelers, they got 6 as well. They're the only other organization with 6, like the Patriots. So it happens, man. It's the cost of doing business. You're gonna lose players, but again, we haven't lost Brock Bowers yet. Not Brock Bowers. We haven't lost Brock Wright yet. So we don't know what will happen. We're keeping an eye on the situation, and obviously we'll know when the Lions make their move, whatever they decide. But there are options out there. We still have Shane Zylstra, and we still have James Mitchell. We still have people on the roster. We can draft. We can draft someone. There's still some tight ends out there on the market in free agency. I think we'll be fine, man. I think we'll be fine. I don't think it's something to freak out about. Some people seem like more upset about Brock Bowers potentially leaving than they were about Josh Reynolds. And I know Brock Bowers does a lot of the dirty work in the run game. Why do I keep calling? I mean, they have the same name. I'm sorry. Brock Wright. Brock Wright. So I know Brock Wright does, a lot of the dirty work in the running game and all these things. But, man, just relax. Just relax. Just take a chill pill. And hopefully, the Lions will make the right decision for this roster, for this culture, for this team. And if we lose Brock, then hopefully we get better after we lose him. If we retain him, then we'll continue to get better with him. And that's pretty much it, man. That is my opinion on the whole Brock Wright situation. Again, would love to see him back. But if not, I would love to see this team get better with his departure, for them to bring in a player who may have the same skill set and be better, or who has a different skill set and he takes this offense to newer heights. It's already at high heights, but newer heights than it already is right now. So that is all the time that we have for today. As always, I'm going to tell you to go ahead and subscribe. Smash that like button like it did something to you. And, be the kind of friend that shares with your friends. Tell people, let them know what's going on in this here kitchen. It's great cooking up everything all the time. All Lions. This is what we're talking about. We're cooking it up in the kitchen. And as always, whatever you want to talk about in the comment section, do not be afraid to leave a comment. Do not be afraid to agree, to disagree, but keep it classy. And as always, until next time, peace.